All right, now, how y'all doing? I think a little too close to the camera. Ah, how about that? That's better. I think the camera a little too high. Ah, how about that? That's better. I like that. That's better. Alright, let me get to right now. All right, what going on? Today we talking about humble. I was looking it up and I was like, what humble mean? And it's like to have an accurate assessment of yourself, your capabilities, where you stand, who you are, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, all right, cool. But then, okay, how pride work? Pride is a over evaluation of yourself, where you think too highly of yourself. That's it. So I call it a high feeling. All right, cool. Almighty, you know what I'm saying? And then there's a low feeling. Cause I'm like, there's another one. There's no way you can just be humble and pride. There has to be something in between because people be acting humble. You know what I'm saying? So that means they have to have another one. And it's false humility. And that's called like being or pretending to be or portraying yourself as a humble person. You put yourself down. You don't even have to be trying to portray yourself as a humble person. You could genuinely think low of yourself. So I call it a low feeling. You think less of yourself. You don't have an accurate assessment of yourself. It's lower than where you should be assessed. Pride, I forgot the word. Low feeling, high feeling. Pride, false humility. In the middle is humbleness. This is the correction for both because pride is it's just bad, and then this is a twisted version of pride, false humility. So both of them are prideful because you're judging yourself incorrectly, and this one is where you're supposed to be. Now, if you have an accurate assessment of yourself, that doesn't mean you can't be confident in your capabilities. Like if you did something for 10 years and you practice doing it for 10 years and you got real good at it. Every single time you practice it, you try to improve on it and you got real good at it. To now downplay your capabilities and say anybody could do this, that's a lie. That's not true. That's not the case. You should accept that you are more capable than most people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense, don't it? No, I had to think about it harder because continue the thought. Just follow me. How do you measure humbleness? Because if there's a false humility, you can pretend to be humble, and anybody can pretend or perceive you to be that. I'm like, all right, cool. We know what pride and arrogance and all of that looks like. I'm like, okay, cool. We could see that one. But it's the ones that try to be humble just by appearance. That is the one that's confusing. Because then I can't give you an accurate assessment if you can easily act and portray humbleness. Then I'm thinking, okay, so it's not an action per se, it has to be something else. Then it has to be something internally. Then it will be a heart posture. It will be how you present your heart, and your heart is filled with humility, and humility is, you can look at it different ways, but humility is the accurate assessment of yourself based on what though? It has to have a measurement stick. It has to have a unit of measurement to compare yourself to know if you're being humble. If it's yourself, that you can't be your own measurement stick because then you change. You're human. You're inconsistent. You're always gonna change. Okay, cool. It can't be society because that changes. Look at how it changes over generation, and look at how it just changes from day to day. So it can't be cultural. It can't be societal. It can't be you. It can't be another person. It can't be any of those things that determine your humbleness. If it's a heart posture, by my logic, the only being that knows how to measure your heart is God. That's why it said only God can judge you because He's the only one that knows your heart. I'm like, cool. Now we have to understand that being humble is like, I have to, then I had to argue myself. I just like understand this. If you say no, you don't need God to be humble, well then what do you measure yourself by without creating a false humility? Just a question I'm putting out there. I gave you my explanation. And then if you have God, let's assume you need God to be humble, then you would use God's measurement of how He sees you. He'll give you His opinion of you, and you take that opinion and build yourself according to that opinion. So if you have a low feeling towards yourself, then you would have to look at what God says and pull your low feelings up and stop talking self-deprecatingly, emotional abuse to yourself, anything that makes yourself feel worthless. You would have to take that and say, okay, God says I have value, I have worth, He loves me, and I am worth the love without putting in any type of work. Just believing in Him, having faith in His grace, it saves us. You know what I'm saying? So I would then have to understand, if I have a high feeling of myself, I have to lower myself, which would be the more common, be humble or humble yourself. I'm like, cool. Yeah, that was my conclusion. You need God to be humble because He's the only measurement stick that can measure your heart and determine if humble is what you are or prideful is what you are, in the high sense, the high feeling pride, or the low sense, false humility. What y'all think? Feedback? Am I crazy? Is this out there? You see what I'm saying? Am I correct? Do you think I'm correct? Because I could be wrong. Just thought about it, was looking it up, and see out shit. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Later.